I am continuing my reading. What I'm doing in this series is to read through the entire standard works of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. This consists of the Bible, the Book of Mormon, the Doctrine and Covenants, and the Pearl of Great Price. I am reading in a chronological order of events, not according to publication or volume, so I will be skipping around a bit as I move along. So we again pick this up in Ezekiel. This will be chapter 46. And as you can see, I am outside once again, so we may have the ambiance going on. I know there's somebody cutting trees back down here, so don't know how much you'll be able to hear in the background. We'll get to it. Ordinances of worship and of sacrificial performances are set forth. Thus saith the Lord God, the gate of the inner court that looketh toward the east shall be shut the 6 working days, but on the Sabbath it shall be opened, and in the day of the new moon it shall be opened. And the prince shall enter by the way of the porch of that gate without, and shall stand by the post of the gate, and the priests shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, and he shall worship at the threshold of the gate. Then he shall go forth, but the gate shall not be shut until the evening. Likewise the people of the land shall worship at the door of this gate before the Lord in the Sabbaths and in the new moons. And the burnt offering that the prince shall offer unto the Lord in the Sabbath day shall be 6 lambs without blemish, and a ram without blemish. And the meat offering shall be an ephah for a ram, and a meat offering for the lambs, as he shall be able to give, and an hin of oil to an ephah. And in the day of the new moon it shall be a young bullock without blemish, and 6 lambs and a ram. They shall be without blemish, and he shall prepare meat offering, and an ephah for a bullock, and an ephah for a ram, and for the lambs, according as his hand shall attain unto, and an hin of oil to an ephah. And when the prince shall enter, he shall go in by the way of the porch of that gate, and he shall go forth by the way thereof. This seems to be reiterating the sacrifices required in the law of Moses. Now, I'm not going to take the time right now to go back and verify exactly that these are the exact same ordinances as in the law of Moses. If they aren't, they're very similar. I know that. The one thing that we want to note here is we have an ephah for the meat offering. When it says the meat offering, I believe this is the flour mixed with oil. And so you sacrifice a bull, you also sacrifice an ephah of flour mixed with a hin of oil. Hin being a liquid measurement and an ephah being a solid measurement, right? And for a ram, the same thing. For the lambs, you sacrifice whatever you think you are able to sacrifice. But it still has to have the same portions or the same ratio there of, for every ephah of flour you sacrifice, you have to match it with a hin of oil. And like I said, I believe this is just reiterating the sacrifices of the law of Moses. But verse 9. But when the people of the land shall come before the Lord in the solemn feasts, he that entereth in by the way of the north gate to worship shall go out by the way of the south gate, and he that entereth by the way of the south gate shall go forth by the way of the north gate. He shall not return by the way of the gate whereby he came in, but shall go forth over against it. And the prince in the midst of them, when they go in, shall go in, and when they go forth, shall go forth. And in the feasts and in the solemnities the meat offering shall be an ephah to a bullock, and an ephah to a ram, and to the lambs as he is able to give, and an hin of oil to an ephah. Now when the prince shall prepare a voluntary burnt offering or peace offerings voluntarily unto the Lord, one shall then open him the gate that looketh toward the east, and he shall prepare his burnt offering and his peace offerings, as he did on the Sabbath day. Then he shall go forth, and after his going forth one shall shut the gate. Thou shalt daily prepare a burnt offering unto the Lord of a lamb of the first year without blemish. Thou shalt prepare it every morning, and thou shalt prepare a meat offering for it every morning, the 6th part of an ephah, and the 3rd part of an hin of oil, to temper with fine flour. A meat offering continually by a perpetual ordinance unto the Lord. Thus shall they prepare the lamb and the meat offering and the oil every morning for a continual burnt offering. Something else I forgot to mention here is that the prince goes in by the east gate. He brings the sacrifice in, prepares it, gives it to the priests, and then he leaves. This is the only time that the east gate is open. Now on the Sabbath day it is open all day, and on a new moon. Sabbaths and new moons, you open the gate and you don't close it until sundown. But on every other day, you open the prince brings his offering, you open the gate, he delivers it, you close the gate. It does not stay open. It is only open while the prince is there. Anyways, let's finish this out, starting here, verse 16. Thus saith the Lord God, if the prince give a gift unto any of his sons, the inheritance thereof shall be his sons. It shall be their possession by inheritance. But if he give a gift of his inheritance to one of his servants, then it shall be his to the year of liberty. After it shall return to the prince. But his inheritance shall be his sons for them. Moreover, the prince shall not take of the people's inheritance by oppression, to thrust them out of their possession. But he shall give his son's inheritance out of his own possession, that my people be not scattered every man from his possession. After he brought me through the entry, which was at the side of the gate, into the holy chambers of the priests, which looked toward the north, and behold, there was a place on the two sides westward. Then said he unto me, This is the place where the priests shall boil the trespass offering and the sin offering, where they shall bake the meat offering, that they bear them not out into the utter court, to sanctify the people. Then he brought me forth into the utter court, and caused me to pass by the four corners of the court. And behold, in every corner of the court there was a court. In the four corners of the court there were courts joined, of 40 cubits long and 30 broad. These four corners were of one measure, and there was a row of building round about them four, and it was made with the boiling places under the rows round about. Then said he unto me, These are the places of them that boil, where the ministers of the house shall boil the sacrifice of the people. So a little more confusion here, because the inheritance is, again, reiterating the law of Moses. Your son can inherit and keep what he inherits, but a servant only gets to keep the inheritance until the day of liberty. That's referring to the Jubilee, I believe. Every 50 years, everything is returned back to its original owner, and I believe that's what it's talking about. On this other one, so remember, you have the inner court, you have the outer court, and you have the utter court, the utmost court. And this utter court is a mile by mile or something like that. And from what I understand, I could be wrong about this, I think this is talking about this outer area. There are areas in the corners that are set aside for the boiling of the sacrifices. Not exactly. Now, some sacrifices have to be boiled and prepared inside the inner court, but others can be prepared in the utter court. Again, a little confusing, but again, seems to be about this whole thing from chapter 40 through here seems to mainly be reiterating the law of Moses, saying that these ordinances of the temple, this temple was a temple of the Mosaic law. And if that temple is going to be restored, it must once again be a temple of the Mosaic law. Therefore, the ordinances of the Mosaic law must be restored and performed within that temple. That's what I think the main purpose of all of this is to explain this restoration that will happen in the last days. So, we leave that here, and we'll pick it up in chapter 46. No, we just read chapter 46. Chapter 47. See ya.